Hey guys, thanks for checking out Scotty's Hobbies. Today we're going to be doing brakes, front pads and pads and rotor replacement on this here Lexus LS430 2001, I believe it is. Sports suspension, it says on the side. So LS430 01. This is the 01 LS430, right?
Yeah.
What you're going to need for this obviously is your brake pads, your rotors, some brake grease if you're going to use it. 19 millimeter is going to be for the caliper housing to the spindle, I believe it's called. So 19 is what you're going to need. Half-inch breaker bar or wrench. When I put my wheels on, I use, this is a 90-pound torque stick. Little tweaker tool. Hardware kit with your brake pads, but brake pads, hardware kit, that's all in there. This nifty caliper compressor for these dual-sided pistons. Also the 21 to remove your lugs. I'm using air tools, but you could use hand tools. And you're also going to need a wire brush. This is a little big for what we're doing, but you need a wire brush too. So that's everything we need. Caliper compressor, 19 mil, half-inch drive or half-inch ratchet or breaker bar. Torque stick, 21 lug, little tweaker tool, wire brush, something to take the wheels off. All right, this one's going to be 21 millimeter on the lugs. Obviously, got to remove the wheel. That over there. Before you do anything on these brakes, always make sure you open up your reservoir right here. At least make this loose, so when you compress your pistons, when it pushes back up, you don't want to blow the seals on any of your brake system. So make sure that's opened up. We're going to go ahead and turn the wheel to the driver's side right now, so the passenger caliper is facing out as much as possible. Perfect. This one's got a bunch of grease on the caliper from somewhere. Alright, so what we're going to do is take this hardware kit off. Super easy on these. There's a little pin right here. Nice in the shadow so you can't see it. That was inside there. This will slide right out now. On this side, it's got the wear sensor for the computer, for the brake system on the passenger side. The driver's side did not have one. You gotta be careful with that. On this car, it's not hit yet, so you don't have to replace it. So the ceramic hasn't worn down off of it. So we're gonna reuse this, hopefully. These pads slide right out. And again, you got to be careful with this sensor. There should be a clip. Maybe there's not a clip on these.
I don't think there was.
Super careful. These are ceramic. How these work is when the pad wears down enough to hit this, the ceramic will wear off. And then the two sensors that come inside, the two wires, they're just bare inside here. So when the rotor rubs this down, it'll use the rotor to make continuity between the two wires to make the sensor come on the dash. So right now you want to be really careful not to break this. That's it. When you put it on, be Gentile too. It's got this little clip thing that was on the retainer for your brake pads, which is also another safety feature to keep it there, or not get any tension on it to break it. Like I showed you in the intro, you're going to need this caliper compressor, Oh, in this case I'm using this caliper compressor. You could do it by taking these pads out and using like a pry bar or something to push out. But how this works is we're going to put this compressor between, make sure it's meeting both both sides of the piston. So you have 4 pistons in here. You're going to slide this right between the 2 on both sides. So you're pushing them back equally. If you notice right here on the rotor caliper, where your brake hold down goes, or pin goes, that's the very center. You could pick up this tool, I don't know where actually, Snap-on Matco, nice little fortune for you. This works on these Lexus, also Mercedes, like higher end pistons or calipers with pistons on both sides. This is exactly what you need to compress those. If the brakes are worn down a lot, you could fit this in with the back of the brake pad in if the pad is gone. So if it's just the metal, you could squeeze this in too if you need more outward force. We're replacing these rotors because they are warped. They wobble hella bad when you slow down, so hopefully this fixes the problem. There's a little bit of oil right here. This could be from the boot on the piston, might be leaking on one of these. It also could be from something else leaking down on it. There's a little bit on here. Don't really like it, but it's not nice. It's not real wet, so keep going. Now that we have the caliper compressed, you're going to take these 2 retainer bolts off for the actual caliper. This is to get the rotor off. On my flip socket, this is a 19 and a 21. Happens to be a 19 on this top. Remember that sensor, be careful of that sensor, don't want to break it. Right now we could reuse it. If it is worn down, you could pick them up. I believe Rock Auto has them for like $7, or you could get them at your local store, O'Reilly's, Cragen or whatever, probably under $30. Remember, keep being careful of that sensor. When you're putting the caliper up here, you want to make sure you don't mess up your wires right here. Sometimes I'll use a bungee cord, and I'll bungee cord it up to the control arm, the upper control arm. Set that right there. Simple. You're going to put this rotor back on.
The other one's really bad. This one wasn't that bad.
The other one's toast?
Yeah.
That one did look pretty bad when you got on the ground. I usually just put one to hold it flush. It's real hard to get the caliper lined up with the brake pads and everything if you don't have something holding it flush on here. Put this caliper back on. Before you use any tools, hand or pneumatic, or what is the other one? Whatever the other one is. Make sure that you've already got your bolts started in the hole that they're going, or in the threads that they're going. If they're not in properly, and you try to hit them with the gun or with your muscles, You know what I did forget to do? Give me that little brush. Thank you. Alright, before you install, you should clean off any excess brake dust. Hopefully you see that. So clean off this here brake dust. Anywhere that the pad is going to meet the metal, just so it doesn't have anything to get stuck on when it's being used. And you want it to go back. You don't want it to always stay on the rotor when you're not hitting the brakes. Then nice and cleaned off. Now get these caliper bolts in. See, they didn't want to go in because it wasn't clean. Now that we got those both good started, I'm going to hit them with the gun just to get them in faster. And then again, you're going to use the 19 socket. Not again, but you're going to use it to tighten it down. You don't want to over tighten or break the bolts, strip the threads out. So don't use that pneumatic gun. Better safe than sorry. These, you just want to go to German torque specs. Good and tight. Just kidding, really tight. Perfect. Now these pads we got, I'm gonna have to figure out how to blur out the name, but we got some really good pads. On the back,
It's right here.
I want to put this grease on. This is an anti-squeak, I believe. Make sure it's all evenly on here. The pads will not matter which side that they go on. They're all four the same. 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. They're just going to slide right in like so. Thank you. This kit, when you buy your brake pads, you can buy kits with or without the hardware kit. Getting older in life and doing these a lot, I've noticed that when you buy the ones with the brake kit, they just last longer, or the hardware kit. Just all new shit. You know your spring is good on this, keeps the pads down. Might cost you a little bit more, but it's well worth the investment. On your slider pin, the retainer slider pin, you want to make sure this is nice and clean before you reinstall it. If you have a wire wheel, this will speed up the time for you, the process, but this works just fine too. Get as much of the black shit off as you can. Looking good. I always put this lube on the retainer too. Make sure it's nice and evenly spread out. Like so. Oh no. Now the sensor, set that down, make sure it doesn't get dusty. Your sensor, pull it back out to where it was at. Make sure you have the right side of your sensor going in. Like that. So the sensor just slides right in. This hardware kit came with this little retainer to hold these in, I believe it is. Yep. So this kit has this little lock that goes on that sensor just to hold it down so it doesn't pop out. Not all kits come with this, and how we took it off, it wasn't even on this car, so make sure we do it right this time. Slap this little lock. Try to. It's a little bit high. Like so. So now you have the retainer holding your sensor in too. Alright, now we got that in. We're going to put this back on. We're going to slide this back through. Like so. Your little retaining clip for the slider pin that holds your pads in. Don't forget that. And it looks like this is going to come in from the bottom. It's nice and shaded for you guys. Alright, that's in. So one little thing that you could do is how this removes that way. If you turn this so that it faces down, the hoop where it would come out faces down, it just makes it less likely to vibrate out. Not that it would. So that is perfect. How it's not going to slide down, and that's good. So as of right now, this brake job is pretty much done. But you know what I just missed? I didn't put that on. Got to take it back out. So we got this one. Got that pin back out. See, you don't want to forget this little stuff like this. And you just end up doing it twice, just like this. But look how fast it is to fix the problem. So when you notice stuff, you want to make sure you go back and get it done right. It could have just very well been fine letting it go like that, even though it's family.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Give me a minute. Hold on.
So we got that.
While you're on the phone. Let me look at something real quick.
And now that clip is back in. We're going to push it back down inside again. That way, so it could push in instead of, or it would have to push in to make it come out. So it's very unlikely to vibrate out right here. So make sure that's pushing in. At this point, now we are done. We're going to go ahead and put the wheels back on. Put your cap back on. And now that we have them all started, go ahead and use the torque stick. This is a 90-pound torque stick I use on the cars. I use the 110 on the trucks.
Hey, what is the fax number there?
Alright, so now this completes the brake job on this LS430 01. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Oh yeah, also don't forget to pump the brakes at this time. Before you go on a trip, you get these wheels on the ground right now, pump your brakes at least 5 times. You want to go all the way to the floor. It will stiffen up. When it stiffens up, that's when you're good to go. Don't go if it's sloppy or if it's spongy pushing down. You want to get that firm brake feeling. So make sure you pump your brakes. And then when you get back after you do your BJ brake job, make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment below, let me know if this helped. And that's it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for checking out Scotty's Hobbies.